Hello, everyone, and welcome to Shifting Tones, the podcast with nerdy tones and shifting formats. Today, I will be your main host, Sam, and joining me are my two co-hosts, Lorissa
Hello.
and Steph.
Hi.
Before we get into the meat and potatoes of it all, I should explain what we do here at Shifting Tones and what your ears will be consuming. Each week, there will be a different host, most likely repeating rotation in the same order. However, since the format will shift each week, then who knows who will be hosting the next week? That could change as well. That's what we like to do. We like to have fun here. Not only will the format change, but so will the topics. Anything from movies to video games to anime to sports to whatever tickles our fancy. The majority of topics will be focused on some sort of nerd culture related thing. So hopefully that's something you guys will want to listen to and tune in each week for. So hopefully that kind of gave a little idea of what we'll be working with here. So Steph, Larissa, how are you guys doing today? How's it going?
I'm good. I'm tired because I'm busy all day long, but I'm good.
That's good.
Yeah, I am also doing A-okay, so I'm ready to record our first episode. I'm excited.
That's great to hear.
How are you? How are you doing?
Me? Oh, I'm doing all right. Little hungry, but not too bad. Let's see. I just worked all day. It wasn't too exciting. Dealt with my goblin cat biting my knees all day and trying to bite the cords. So yeah. No, it's just been a pretty average day. Started the work week. Nothing too exciting. We're hopefully going to be pretty busy this week. Movie Tuesdays are date nights, so like to go out and see whatever new movies in the theaters because it's only $5 and get a big old bucket of popcorn for $5 too.
What are you gonna watch?
Blue Beetle just came out this weekend, so
I don't even know what that is.
it's a superhero movie.
Oh, the figures. I know nothing of superheroes.
Look, when you go to the theaters, you have a 50% chance of seeing a superhero movie at all times.
That's fair.
Larissa, you love superhero movies, right?
They are a great movie, but they are not my favorite type of movie. I do enjoy them, though.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, the superhero movies right now are just kind of taking over everything, so it's like, yeah, you get some bad ones, you get some good ones, but it's entertaining all the same.
Right, I am interested to see how Blue Beetle will do because it's our first DC movie that's being directed in a Marvel style, so that should be interesting to see.
Steph, what's the last superhero movie you actually dragged yourself to go see?
Oh Lord, who knows? That's a great question. I mean, if my life depended on it, I don't think No, okay, to be fair, I think Into the Spider-Verse, if we're counting that.
Yeah, that counts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That I was trying to think of live action, involving real people, and then that I would not have been able to tell you anything about if my life depended on it. But I did see the what was it called? Across the Universe? Spider-Man? The Spider-Verse? One of those. The second one of the series.
Okay. I was going to make sure you saw two because technically I didn't see the first one. So,
What?
I know.
I said, do you want to see the first one before we go and see the second one?
Oh.
I watched enough of it to know what it was, so I was like, no, I'll just go right into the second.
That was the last one I saw.
And it was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, you're not missing anything as far as live action movies go. At this point with Marvel, DC, once you've seen one, you've seen them all, but they're still fun. I enjoy them. I get, giddy when I go see them.
So you guys are seeing a movie tomorrow. Was that after your work day?
Yeah, we try to shoot for sometime pretty earlier, just so, got to get up early for work. Hopefully not coming home at like 11 or 12 o'clock at night.
Makes sense during a weekday.
Yeah.
My schedule does not involve seeing a movie as I do not live with you guys and I'm not going on a date with you guys.
Well, that's good.
I'm just going to work and then I probably will just come home and stream.
Oh, streaming, you say?
Classic Steph.
Classic.
Well, enough about you, Steph. But I'm glad I brought up movies because not only am I the most important one here today as the host, but movies is kind of our first topic, specifically movie tropes. You guys know movie tropes, right? You guys love movie tropes?
Oh, yeah.
I sure do.
I'm not convinced. That's fine. That's why we're here. And so, what are movie tropes? Steph, do you want to try to give me your best definition without Googling what a movie trope is?
A movie trope is
Yes.
common things that happen in movies that might annoy some people who watch lots of movies and they repeat a lot in different genres. Each genre might have their own trope or things that happen way too frequently that some people might hate, but some people might love it. Depends on who you ask.
Larissa, is that what you were going to say too?
Well, it's pretty good. And if I was a teacher at a film school and I heard that definition from a student, I'd give it a solid C+.
Girl, what?
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're going for. Yeah, I mean, it's just the pieces and parts that really help guide the story. I mean, things that are common occurrences and throughout all different genres of movies. And the ones we're going to be talking about today are just that we'll bring up are probably ones you've heard before and ones that you might enjoy, you might hate, you might think, oh my God, every time this pops up in a movie, I absolutely hate it. I think the movie trope like that for me is, we were talking about earlier, is probably the ticking time bomb. Like, it's trying to build suspense, it's trying to build anxiety and like, oh my God, the bomb's going to go off. They have to cut the red wire. They got to press this sequence. And of course, they always get it done. Like, very, very rarely does the bomb go off and the hero dies and end of movie. So it's a little cliche for me.
Yeah.
They gotta make it suspenseful.
No, true. But sometimes I do wish they would take the guts and actually kill the hero. That'd be fun for once.
Yeah, but I'm like the person that doesn't like bad endings. So like I need it to end good. I need everything. I kind of like the everyone does save the day.
Oh, you're a save the day kind of troper.
Yeah, I am. I like a happy ending. I like when things work out. So if the bomb exploded everyone, I just feel bad afterwards.
So in Pokemon the movie, when Ash gets turned to stone,
Oh,
I think he should have just stayed stone. It would have made it much more interesting.
that's crazy.
Oh no.
That is crazy. Dude, not me bawling my eyes out at that scene.
Okay, you're only like 20. Don't worry about it.
I don't know what Pikachu would have done from that moment forward. Would he have just, like exploded from emotions? Like
No, he would have joined a gang.
There's no way.
He would have joined the Squirtle gang.
That'd be a great game to join.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just I like a happy ending. So if Ash would have just remained stone, it just would, I don't know. I'd feel like incomplete and empty. But I know that's like the opposite because some people like really like that.
Yeah, I mean, I like open-ended endings. Like, I like cliffhangers. I like, thinking about it at the end. There's a movie called Absentia I watched in college like 3 or 4 times, and I still don't know what the ending's about. And I've talked about it multiple times with friends, and it's just, I think it's meant to be open-ended. I think that's what the director was going for, but it's still one of those things that I like, questioning. Like, if I walk out of the theater and the movie ends weird, I want to talk about it. I want to discuss it, be like, what happened? What's going on?
I mean, that's fair. So now that we've addressed your least favorite movie trope, what about your favorite movie trope, Sam?
Oh, my favorite movie trope? Oh boy, I think one of my favorite movie tropes of all time is, and it's a silly one because it's not even a major one, is breaking the fourth wall.
It's a good one.
I know it's more of a TV trope than a movie trope, but I like when the main actor or whoever, anybody in this a story looks at the camera and just starts speaking. Classic Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Wayne's World. Those are some examples of that.
Can't forget Deadpool.
What about you guys? Oh, Deadpool, yeah.
That's how I was literally just about to say Deadpool. Like, I don't watch a lot of superhero movies, but I think Deadpool, I know you said it's better when they do it in TV shows, but I think Deadpool pulled that off really well.
Oh, absolutely.
I think the writers were very clever with that, and I think it's a fun little thing. It just is, you're just like, ha, that's not supposed to happen.
I don't know if that's how I think about it, but yeah.
Oh.
Well,
maybe I just think of movies very different. I have a very different way of watching movies, I suppose.
No, that's fair. I do think breaking the fourth wall is more interesting to someone who's seen a lot of movies because it gives the opportunity for a filmmaker to break more of the rules, even though in it itself it's a trope. But, it could be like a little peek behind the curtains.
That's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
At least you're not one of those people, though. I was just going back to Steph, for the way you watch movies. At least you're not one of those people that, looks up everything about the movie as you're watching it and like spoils everything, or like or wants to learn all the trivia as you're watching it.
No, I don't.
That is directed at two of my friends specifically that like doing that.
I can't be bothered to look it up. I can't. I'm too lazy. I don't care that much.
I will say it is fun though when I get to learn some little tidbits that like make a scene a little bit more impactful or more interesting. I can't think of an example right now, but it does bother me a lot when I see someone portraying a character and I'm like, okay, what age are you actually? And what age are you supposed to be portraying right now? Because something's not working right now.
Yeah, I don't know if that's technically a movie trope, but I definitely get what you're saying. Like when, hey, here's a high school full of teenagers. Actually, I mean, they're all 30-year-old actors, but here's a high school full of teenagers. And so it's hard to relate more to that.
Oh, were you asking what my favorite trope was?
Yeah, I thought that's what I thought that's what you were talking about.
Oh, I see. No. I was just trying to defend our friends who were like interested in bringing up trivia, and I like to know some of the actors' ages while I'm watching the movie because I'm not very good with remembering actual actors and their names and everything like that. So that's some information I like to enjoy while I'm watching the movie.
What about trope though? What's your favorite trope? Do you have one?
I don't know if I have a favorite trope or not. Yeah, I'll ask you. What's your favorite trope, Larissa?
My favorite trope? Absolutely. I'm not a hater of all tropes, although there are a few I don't like. But I'm a rom-com girly through and through, so I love a classic meet cute, and it's very cliche, and we all know exactly what's going to happen at the end. They're going to get together, they bump into each other, there's going to be a breakup, and then they're going to get back together, and then curtains close, and it's love forever. And you can literally fall asleep and wake up and know exactly what the plot's going to be, but that's okay because it's fun.
It sounds like it's comforting for you too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but there are a lot of rom-coms, not a lot, but there is enough that kind of like break the rules of it a little bit to be like, oh, are they actually going to get together? And most times they do, but sometimes they don't. And you're like, oh, like I know in The Devil Wears Prada, and it's not necessarily a meet cute, but it is definitely a classic rom-com where you see her with her boyfriend and they break up and you're like, oh, they're going to get back together sort of a thing. And they don't. They separate and go on and continue into their different career paths. And I was just like, wow, that's not what usually happens, but I appreciate it more that it broke that sort of like stereotype.
Yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Tropes kind of are stereotypes for movies. Like when you see it, you kind of expect it. You know, like you said, for the rom-com, you always expect them to go through this chain of events and then they end up together at the end. And when it doesn't fit that mold, it surprises you. And I think that's what's interesting about some movie tropes, like the heroic sacrifice, for example. I know we'll get into specifics later more, but I think back to superhero movies with the Avengers movie, the first one where Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Iron Man, flies into the wormhole that opened up over New York City and sacrifices himself to stop everyone and or to stop the bad guys and save everybody. And you're like, oh, sweet, they killed Iron Man in the first the first big movie. That's pretty cool. And then he comes back down to Earth and he's still alive. He has PTSD afterwards, but
he saved the day.
He did save the day. Yeah, but he didn't actually sacrifice himself.
He did in that moment in time.
Yeah, as an adult, it's not as satisfying because when you're a kid, you're like, oh my God, I'm devastated they're gone. And then so like when they come right back, you get really happy. But when you're an adult, you're like, that doesn't actually happen in real life. So.
Oh, maybe that's just you.
Well, maybe. I don't know.
to me, I'm like, oh, they're back. I get excited.
Steph, you're a child watching these movies.
I'm still that kid. I am, though. I mean, this is going to call me out, but I am like that person that will talk during movies and like ask a million questions, like what's going to happen next? Like, I am so guilty of that.
Oh, so you're the worst kind of moviegoer, it sounds like. Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll admit it. I do. I just sit there and be like, oh, but what's going to happen now? Or why did they do that? why did that happen? I sit there and I'll do that. I don't do it in theaters. I know better. I will not do it in public, but I feel really bad for, my fiance who has to sit there and listen to it.
I mean, I definitely remember doing that as like a child. Like if I was watching movies, I'm not comparing you to a child, but I do remember like sitting at home, renting a movie or going to the theaters with my family and being like, hey, who's this guy? What's this? Even though I probably saw like the movie before it, or I should know who these people are, and I don't. But that's just being curious. That's just the curious mind of a child or a Steph.
Or just me.
And it's definitely not just children, because whenever I watch a film with my family, my dad always has a million questions, and I'm just like, do you want to watch the movie or do you want me to explain the whole plot to you right now?
Am I your dad?
I mean, maybe.
That's definitely that just sounds like me to a T, basically.
You are the father.
My response always is to, like, just watch. Just keep going. Feel it, just vibe.
I think one of the best parts of experience movies in different ways with a childlike mind, or liking to dig deeper in and be more analytical, is that you do get to experience all of the different tropes throughout all the movie genres. And it's like, they're important, why they're there, but you still ask questions like, why did they put this in here? Why did they do this? Why did they do that? And that's what they're there for, to push the narrative. I don't know if that was a good segue, but it's the best I got. And I think that when it comes to movie tropes, there are three like really major important types of tropes, which are the character trope, the dialogue trope, and the plot trope. And yes, I'm saying trope a lot, but that's okay. So to get into those a little bit further, guys, the character tropes I think are some of the most interesting ones, because it's kind of what drives more the movie than the plot tropes, because your character is your movie a lot of ways. For example, the Manic Pixie Dream Girl. That's like a classic trope you see in a lot of movies. And when I think of that, I think of Scott Pilgrim versus the World with Ramona Flowers.
That's a great example.
Do you have any other examples, Steph? Can you think of a Manic Pixie Dream
No.
Girl? You got this. Come on, dig deep.
So someone like Ramona Flowers from that movie?
Not from that movie, but yeah, like somebody like Ramona Flowers, yeah.
Well, but I mean, just in a different movie.
I don't have one in a movie, but maybe this will help you, Steph. You know how, what is Zooey Deschanel's character name in
New Girl?
Oh, New Girl. Yeah, it doesn't matter, but she is definitely a Manic Pixie Dream Girl, but she also does play in a movie, 100 Days of Summer. And her character name I'm forgetting right now, but she's definitely a Manic Pixie Dream Girl.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think Zooey Deschanel as an actress is the Manic Pixie Dream Girl in most movies. Like Yes Man, she plays, I think it's Allison, and it's just like they're there to, push the plot forward, which sucks. It's like, hey, this character should have character development and character growth and arc and stuff, but the Manic Pixie Dream Girl is there literally just to be there for their partner, the protagonist, which is usually just the brooding generic guy.
Sometimes they are the antagonists in the case of 500 Days of Summer, so
That's
yeah,
fair. That's
and
fair.
you're like, well, is she really a Manic Pixie Dream Girl, or was he just imagining that she was one for him? And you're like, oh, deep.
Steph, maybe this one will be more up your alley.
Okay.
What about the classic damsel in distress?
Yeah.
Yeah, do you have an example for that one? Yeah.
Yeah. I know of the trope. I just, your girl can't think of any examples off the top of her head.
Oh, you know of the trope? Name 5 of their songs.
I mean, I don't want to say like the first thing when I heard like damsel in distress, the first thing that popped in my head was like Disney princess movies, but I know that's not like.
No, that's good. Yeah.
Is it? Okay. We're on a roll. We're getting there. I was kind of thinking of like Sleeping Beauty.
Perfect.
In a way.
Okay.
Because she's she's asleep, and under that spell, and she's a damsel in distress because she needs someone to come kiss her awake, right?
And then she's still in distress because some random guy just came and kissed her.
Fair. But like, I feel like that's a pretty good one. Maybe she's not in distress because she is just kind of napping the whole time.
Yeah, but you don't know what's going through that head. She could be having a terrible nightmare right now.
Well, do you know in one of the original tellings of the story, she's actually pregnant the entire time, and she wakes up because she gives birth. So I think that's distress.
What?
You've never heard of that before?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
That would wake me up.
I would hope so.
Huh? That's crazy.
No, see, I was thinking more like your classic King Kong. I don't know the lady's name. I don't know if I've ever actually seen a King Kong movie all the way through, but the lady he's like holding in his hand the whole time.
Yeah. No, that's probably a way better example than what I gave.
No, you're right.
But you see that a lot in most movies, like where like they captured the the female protagonist character and they have to go save her, otherwise like they can't continue the story. Like in The Dark Knight, I know a lot of my references are superhero movies, but in The Dark Knight, Batman's love interest gets captured by the Joker, I believe, and he has to either save him or save her or Harvey Dent, and he's trying to save both. And it's this like huge, important part of the movie, and they're so stressful. The damsel's in distress, and he doesn't save her. Which hero doesn't always win, so that's that falls into the tropes too.
Right, and I think it is kind of a point that like the problem with the damsel is in distress is if you haven't noticed, we don't remember any of the ladies' names usually. So
oh yeah, it's a huge issue as far as movies go. Like, hey, women are weak. That's why they're always in distress. Daphne from Scooby-Doo is the classic damsel in distress.
Yeah.
It's out of her control all the time as she just falls into these issues where she just gets kidnapped or falls into a pit or opens a mysterious door and disappears, and they always have to go save her
I know.
every episode.
But she's part of the team, so they gotta save her.
I guess. Yeah, but like what if one episode, that's what I'm talking about, like what if one episode they were just like, well, screw Daphne, we'll get another.
I'd be devastated.
That's one less person they have to put on their payroll.
I'd be devastated.
I know. What pretty person are we going to look at? I mean, there is Daphne, but let's be real.
No, that's who keeps getting kidnapped.
Oh
Daphne.
no,
You're
I'm
thinking
thinking
of
of
Velma.
Velma. You're right, absolutely.
Well, that could be another. Okay, well, good point with Velma is like the classic girl in glasses is not attractive trope.
That's more of a plot trope than a character trope, though.
Yeah, but it could be a character trope.
That's
like
fair.
I think of Princess Diaries, where like, oh, she has curly hair and glasses, so she's ugly. And then they're like, hey, let's straighten her hair and put makeup in her. And wow, she's a 10 out of 10.
Don't forget, you always have to take those glasses off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job, Steph.
Dude, I'm trying.
You're good. Just one more character trope I'd like to bring up is one of my least favorite, and I was just talking about this with Lorissa the other day, is the gray villain.
Explain that to me.
Yeah, the gray villain being somebody like, I don't know if you've seen back to superheroes, but I don't know if you've seen like any of the main Marvel movies with like Thanos in them, where his whole thing is, hey, the universe is overpopulated, resources are running out.
Yeah.
I want to be a hero in a sense and commit genocide because that will save everybody, which it won't.
Like doing such a bad thing that in their messed up mind is a good thing.
Yes. Yeah. So their reason for whatever they're doing that makes them a villain, in their head, it's a good thing. And it's like, it's just so overplayed right now. And I know it used to be something that would make, oh, wow, that's very interesting. Like the villain's not just a bad guy. He's, could be good. And it like makes people question it. And like, I understand it's important for story building and writers like it. You look at Black Panther with Killmonger. His reasonings were justified, but in the end, he was still trying to like kill a bunch of people, which doesn't make him a good guy.
I think I like the trope because I like backstory and like reasonings for why villains do the things they do. I think it gives them more character like I don't know, fills out their character more. But I think it is kind of a fun like psychology thing to see like, hey, they're thinking of it this way, but like other people have a different like view on it. So I like the different or like the disconnect between perspectives.
I get that. I mean, that's fair.
And I think also like with the gray villain, it also like the natural foil is going to be the hero then. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute. Maybe the hero also isn't doing it quite right either. So you're like, wait, who is the real villain here? Because let's all be real. Some of those Marvel movies can be a little bit of propaganda for the military.
Absolutely.
But I do like it because you kind of start questioning like morals at that point in the universe.
Right. I mean, it's definitely there to make you think and make you like wonder like, oh, is he the good guy? Is he the bad guy? It's just one of those ones that like I'm personally getting tired of because I do see a lot of superhero movies and a lot of action films and stuff like that. And it's just like there's not just, hey, the bad guy is a bad guy because he's a horrible person. It's usually like they have to have some sort of hidden agenda as far as, well, maybe they're not bad.
Yeah, I do appreciate that because sometimes I think it's nice to have a bad guy that we can all agree on at all times and that we can, bring our arms together to fight together. So,
That's very heroic of you.
absolutely. Thank you.
So, enough about character tropes because let's be honest, Steph is the biggest character trope here. Um, on to I was thinking, get into the meat of the dialogue tropes. Those are the fun ones. Those are the ones that like the classic, quips that everyone says in the movies that you just hear over and over, and it's like I've heard this somewhere before. It usually has some sort of origin behind it, but it's so classic and it's so popular that it gets said over and over and over in movies.
Absolutely. And which one's your favorite one then, Sam, since you seem to enjoy them so much?
Oh, I don't know if I have a favorite. I just like them. I like the classic. You're probably wondering how I got here. Like the start of the movie, freeze frame. A good example I could think of is either Emperor's New Groove, where he's
Oh,
like the
classic.
llama and it's raining,
That's a
and
good
he's like,
one.
yeah, he's like, oh, well, let's go back to where it all began. I think they do that in the Sonic movie too.
They do. I was going to bring that
They
up.
do.
Steph is a big fan of the Sonic movie, by the way.
I am. I just
Gotta go fast.
Dude, I was so shocked when I watched it in theaters in such a good way. Like it filled me up with like just childhood like fun and nostalgia, and I just loved it so much that I don't think any trope they had in there like I hated. I just loved every second of it. I do just think dialogue tropes like those like one-liners are just fun. I'm like, "Oh, he said that thing." I think they're fun.
Yeah, they're kind of like little Easter eggs. You notice, like, I've got a bad feeling about this. It's said in every Star Wars movie, and it's like when you hear it, you're like, oh, they said the
I
thing.
do like that.
Which one is your least favorite?
Least favorite?
Yeah, absolutely. If you hear it, you're like, man, did you really have to do that?
I don't know. Like one of the cheesiest one is like they're right behind me, aren't they?
Okay, yeah.
That one too.
He's right behind you.
Spooky. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The dialogue tropes, like, they don't add anything to the movie, really. They don't, progress the plot in really any way, but they're kind of like, oh, when you hear it, that's from probably 10 other things you've heard before.
You brought up scary movies, and what I really don't enjoy is whenever they ask, is anyone there?
Oh, yeah, they're just asking for a ghost to appear, a demon or something like that to kill them.
Right. And I'm just like, come
How
on.
else are they going to know if someone's there or not?
I don't know. They just kind of appear.
They just leave. Just leave. Don't bother going into whatever door that they opened or in the haunted house. Just leave.
I mean, you could do some detective sleuthing at least. Like, put up your, like, hand to your ear and see if you can hear anything, or, like, poke your eye through the door hole. Like, you could do something with the
No,
actual...
putting your eye up to the door hole in horror movies is just asking to get stabbed in the eye.
No, but at least it's not, like, an audible, like, are you there sort of a thing. Like, come on, use some of your sleuthing skills. If you really are, like, scared someone's there, like, why are you audibly saying something?
I'm sure horror movies have a lot of those dialogue tropes.
Horror movies have the most tropes, I think, in general. Not just dialogue tropes, but like generic tropes in general. Like horror movies themselves are just tropes. Like, we talked about this earlier, but the person being chased that trips and falls. The car won't start. You get into the car and you finally found the keys. Like, they were on the dead guy's body. You found the keys and now you can't get it as a start. And the villain that walks really slowly but always seems to catch up to you.
That's fair. There are a lot, huh?
Oh, yeah, but they're the best. I absolutely hate jump scares. I don't think they add anything to the movie. I think they're a cheap thrill, and I think it's a cop-out. But, man, everyone loves them, and that's what causes people to be scared, and it's kind of like part of a scary movie now. It's like, well, if it doesn't have a jump scare, is it a scary movie?
Right, I mean, that is a hot take there, Sam, but I personally am in the majority there, as you claim. I love a good jump scare because I have seen a lot of movies, So whenever something actually manages to surprise me, I get like a sick amount of enjoyment out of that.
I'm the same way. I like jump scares. And then if I rarely do I do this, but if I ever do watch a movie a second time, a horror movie especially, and then watch like someone else watching that movie, then you know what's coming, but they don't. So you get to see like your friend's reaction to the jump scare.
It's kind of like Shannon Foya.
I guarantee, Steph, that if you were to watch a horror movie for the second time and it has a jump scare in it and you hadn't seen it in more than a week, you are still going to scream when the jump scare pops up.
I mean, that's fair. Honestly, that's fair. But maybe it's a theoretical.
My favorite jump scare of all time, we were talking about this last week, is
Wait, you have a favorite jump scare?
I do.
I thought you hated them all.
I have one jump scare I enjoy.
Okay.
Okay, the exception.
Because it actually made me like scream. It made me like crap my pants. Was in, I think it's The Haunting of Hill House. It's either Hill House or Bly Manor. I don't know. They're the same thing. The two girls are just driving in the car and they're just having quiet dialogue. There's no like change in music. There's no change in scenery. And they're just talking. And then all of a sudden this like demon pops up in the back seat and screams and causes them to scream. So which causes me to scream. And they crash the car and it's a whole thing. But it like, usually a jump scare you're expecting like the music starts to pick up or it gets really quiet or they're closing the mirror and you expect it to be in the back of the mirror or something. But this one just came out of nowhere. There was no reason for it at the time and it just scared the poopies out of me.
That's how I felt about like Hereditary, with the scene where the little girl was having an allergic reaction and then the brother was driving her home from the party. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, with the telephone pole.
Yes, dude, that like I don't think that was technically like a big jump scare, but it scared me with how sudden that just occurred and I was so like flabbergasted at that.
Right, because you're expecting her to like choke on the peanut or, have the allergic reaction be the cause of death or something. You're not
Yeah.
expecting her to just stick her head out the window and get boop.
Yeah,
Pop goes a
decapitated.
weasel.
Dude, that I think I'll consider it a jump scare because it scared me.
So back to like, the overall tropes of it. The last one that I wanted to talk about was plot tropes. And I think these are probably the most important part to any movie because they're kind of like the movie itself, not the genre, but they kind of are what the movie's trying to get at. So for example, love triangles in movies. I don't have any specifics. I don't watch a lot of rom-com movies, Larissa. I don't know if you have any specific love triangle.
Obviously, the most iconic one for people of our generation would be the Twilight love triangle between Edward, Bella, and Jacob.
Of course.
Of course, Loka.
Naturally. And we all had teams. I even know, Sam, you did. I forced you to watch all of them.
I hated them. Absolutely hated them.
You did hate them. They were not great, but they were going to leave Netflix, and I was like, oh, I don't want to buy this again, so you're watching them all right now.
That's fair. That's okay.
But Steph, before I really reveal which team I was on, were you on team Edward or Jacob? Do you remember?
Considering I have only ever seen the first movie ever. That's it. I've never seen anything past that.
We need to change that. Okay, well, since I'm the only one with any real stakes in this, it seems, but hot take, I am team Jacob, but that's also pre Breaking Dawn. So we'll ignore Breaking Dawn where he imprints on Bella's daughter, but whatever. The whole series is probably
I think just based on me only seeing the first movie, I would have to say team Edward, but that's just based off the first movie only.
Oh, you're gonna get attacked.
No, because he sparkled. That's my only reasoning.
Wow, the sparkling is the thing that made you were like, yeah, heck yeah, Edward, you're
because it was weird. I was like, what kind of vampire trope is sparkling? I didn't know that was a thing.
No, that is not a thing at all, and that's why everyone hated it.
Yeah.
Look, the reason I don't like Twilight isn't because of like, oh, it's about vampires and werewolves and it's girly book. No, I don't like it because I'm sitting there watching the only decent scene in the whole movie is this like fight scene at the end where like main characters are getting their heads ripped off and like werewolves are coming and like stomping on people and this crazy brutal fight scene where main characters are dying left and right. And then all of a sudden they cut out and it's in this guy's like vision this whole time. I was ready to throw the TV out the window.
Just like another trope, it was all a dream.
It was all a dream. Yeah, like Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of another good example of it was all a dream.
Oh, I know it's not a movie, but wasn't it one of those like classic sitcoms where like at the end he like wakes up from a dream and everyone's very angry? I know I'm like doing a terrible justice to it right now.
Was that MASH? Is that how MASH ended?
No, it wasn't MASH. It was like it's very classic and
Look at our target boomer audience is gonna be really upset with you.
or Gen X. I mean, I feel like it was kind of Gen X. But yeah, any of those people, I know they're gonna like in the comments being like, "Oh my god, it was this show." But
That might be the worst trope. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just it feels like lazy.
absolutely,
I think it's very hard to pull that off correctly.
I don't know if I've ever seen it pulled off correctly. I think it's like you said. I think it's lazy writing. Like, okay, how can we piss off a lot of people at the same time? It was all just a dream.
Well, I think there is one exception to the rule, and people still debate it to this day. Is Inception?
Yeah, but Inception, the whole thing's based around dreams. So I get the ending. Like, oh, was it all? Is he still dreaming? Like, I don't think it's was it all a dream, but is he still dreaming? Like, it kind of it's on the border. But I get what you're saying.
That's
I
fair.
liked Inception. I thought it was good.
No, it's a great movie. I don't know if it was all just a dream, but I definitely
I think I agree with you.
Yeah, we talked about this a little earlier, but the whole ugly duckling transformation thing, Princess Diaries, a lot of 80s movies, a lot of older movies that was like, well, you got to transform the ugly, quote unquote, ugly girl so that she's hot, even though it doesn't matter and she was already fine to begin with.
There's nothing wrong with her.
Yeah.
Or like we talked about too, where it's take off the glasses. Oh, she's a different person. Wow, you're actually that attractive underneath.
I think Sam was trying to pull from The Breakfast Club for like your classic 80s ugly duckling transformation which I think it might actually be the first time they don't take off glasses. It's where the emo weird artsy girl, she has too harsh of hair color and too much eyeliner, so they try to like tame her down, and she wears, instead of black thick eyeliner, brown eyeliner and a little bit of blue eyeshadow, and they put her in a little pink pretty dress.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, transformations like that are like annoying, but they're not as annoying as some movies that go as far as doing racial transformations, which was really popular back in the day. But even in movies, more modern movies like Tropic Thunder, where Robert Downey Jr. does blackface, or in older what is it? Not vaudeville. What is the word I'm looking for?
I think vaudeville is correct, but I think you're looking at minstrel shows. Like,
yes.
Yeah, minstrel shows would happen in vaudeville.
Right. It's just there's a lot of movies out there. I don't know a lot of specifics, but where they do some sort of they try to change the race of one character to represent another race, and it's probably the worst part about the movie. Usually ruins the entire movie.
Yeah.
I know it's satirical in Tropic Thunder, but still, it's still pretty crappy.
I mean, let's call it what it is.
Racist.
Yeah, and blackface.
And just unnecessary to the movie itself, I feel like.
Yeah.
But you know what is necessary to plot tropes?
What?
The villain explaining his plan.
Oh, I love that.
Really?
It's probably the best trope. It's so fun because it's like they're being stupid and this is gonna be foiled, but it's like let him talk, let him do his thing.
Let him cook.
That's right, let him cook. James Bond, it's probably the best example. Every villain in James Bond does it. Probably happens in Despicable Me, right?
Probably. Yeah.
Darth Vader.
Yeah, Darth Vader, yep, in Star Wars. I mean, yeah, just it's the classic trope that you see all the time, and I just kind of want it to be like where he explains his plan, and then it goes through perfectly, and the hero's screwed over.
That'd actually be really funny.
It might exist, I don't know.
It probably does. I mean, we haven't seen every single movie under the sun, so if you know, listener, let us know.
Yes, please, all you listeners out there, all of you Shifting Tone fans, I don't know what we're gonna call you, but you're gonna have a name like Swifties.
No way.
Or no, I'm just kidding. I have no idea. Listening one fan out there, please give us your thoughts. But yeah, I think that was a pretty good overall general discussion on movie tropes. I feel like we covered a big gambit, got some good opinions out there, some good thoughts, some controversial takes, some hot takes. Overall, did anything change your opinion over the course of this discussion on movie tropes?
I had to think really hard about them.
So do you feel like you learned something more or less?
I feel like when you guys started bringing up different tropes and having like examples, I'm like, oh yeah, I guess that is a thing. I would have like just not thought about that much. Like when you said Scott Pilgrim and the Manic Pixie Dream Girl, I'm like, oh yeah, that is a trope. Okay, yeah.
Absolutely. What about you, Lorissa?
I'm not sure if I learned as much as Steph, but I have seen a lot more movies than her. But she's also seen a lot more, I would say, different genres of entertainments, like anime, than me. So we'll let her be the expert on that sort of topic.
I could tell you about anime tropes for sure.
Absolutely, and I could not give you the names of them at all. I'm aware of them, but don't know the names. So
Maybe one day.
absolutely. No, but I do think we came up with some good points. Hopefully, our listeners agree with them. And maybe if they don't, if they have their own controversial hot takes, I love to hear them.
Yeah, I mean, for the first episode, having this open-ended discussion, I don't know if this is what you want to hear, if you want something different, but we're going to give you something different next time. So hopefully this was a little enlightening. Hopefully it was eye-opening. Hopefully you maybe learned some things, have you some hot takes, you hate what we say, whatever it may be. We appreciate you for listening. So thank you so much for listening to Shifting Tones podcast. You can catch us on social media at Shifting Stone Pod, wherever you get your social media. You can follow us individually on social media. I'm pretty much everywhere as Sir Captain Sam. Where can they find you, Steph?
I am pretty much on any social media with @SpiffySteffi.
Steffi. Okay, and what about you, Larissa?
You can find me at Lorissa.Schaefer. So if you need help spelling that, that's okay. It's LORISSA.SCHAEFER. And I'm actually an artist. So if you want to follow my artwork and follow along on my journey, feel free to check it out. I'd love to see you there.
And Spiffy Steffi, you are streaming quite a bit lately, right?
Yeah, I do live streams on Twitch, and I also make YouTube videos.
That is fantastic. And you can find me at your local Taco Bell. So thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next one.